Hello, hello. We're back. We're back again. Another week. And we're here. I'm so excited. So excited that we are keeping up this lovely Monday visit together. This week, I have to say, it's starting out to be a great week. I hope you're having an amazing one. I don't know what you've got going on in your neck of the woods, but sometimes, you just start out a week and it's like, yes. And sometimes it's like, no. I have to say, this week is definitely more on the yes side of the scale. So super, super excited about what's coming tomorrow and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. So I hope you are swimming in that same feel good kind of experience. Now, I have been chatting with some people recently, some friends of mine, some colleagues, some clients, lots of people, lots of different areas about filling up your cup. And the general consensus that I'm hearing from people is that they either don't understand what it means, how to do it, when they know the cup is actually full, all of those kind of things. So I thought, what a perfect thing to talk about. Now, first thing I want to say is what does it mean to fill your cup? Now, it's not about when I used to bartend. Yes, I used to bartend, if you didn't know that, and learning how to pour a draft beer just perfectly so there's very little foam. When I'm talking about filling your cup, I mean it's about you giving yourself what you need unapologetically, unabashedly, so that you can really thrive, so that you can feel satisfied with your day, each and every day. It's about feeling like you have all you need and you've given it all to yourself and there's nothing that's lacking. There's nothing that's missing. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, you need to know what it is that fills you up. That's a number one. That's the first thing foremost that is essential, because if you're trying to give yourself what you need, but you have been giving yourself things that other people tell you need, or that society has taught you need in order to feel satisfied, or in order to feel successful, or in order to X, Y, Z, whatever. But it doesn't feel good to you, if it doesn't really satisfy you, if it doesn't light you up, if it doesn't turn you on, like we talked about last week, then it really is not going to fill you up. It's going to feel yucky. To overly simplify it and bring out some elementary school words, it's going to feel yucky. And we don't like that feeling. So a lot of times we avoid the things that don't feel good to us, which is how people end up not having a full cup, which is how come burnout happens so incessantly, which is how resentment happens so frequently. So rule number one in how to fill your cup, you need to know what fills you up. And so what does it mean to fill you up? So you know what those things are. So for example, I'm going to give you a personal story. There are, lots of coaches that exist out there. I've worked with many different types of coaches over the years, therapists too, consultants, lots of people in the service helping professions, energy healers, all of that stuff. And I've worn some of those hats myself. When you work with people that tell you this is what you need to do, and they give you their own formula that worked for them, that's not a good practice. You don't want to work with somebody who is going to tell you this is the only way, because what works for one person and what works for somebody else there's no guarantee that that's going to be synonymous from person to person. So sometimes I've worked with people that have said, this is what right looks like. And then they've given an example, and maybe it was how to work through a block or a resistance that you might have to your next level, or what it is that you want in your life. But maybe For example, I've never been a huge journaler. I'm not somebody that likes to sit down naturally with a pen and paper and like write through things. I do it, but it's not the only tool in my toolbox. It doesn't give me that shift all the time that I need. It's helpful for me to process. Sometimes I even type on the computer, but sometimes it's really about moving my body. So maybe I put on some music and dance. Maybe I stand somewhere and pretend that I'm performing back on a stage and I sing. So there's different ways that we can move certain things, that certain things work for us and certain things don't. So what fills us up? Maybe we're talking about hobbies. Let's put on my hobby hat. I don't know if there is such a thing as a hobby hat, but we're just going to pretend there's one. Do you see it? It's an invisible hobby hat. So you just use your imagination. The hobbies that we all had, like as children, as young adults, things that we just did purely for the joy of doing them, purely for the fun factor. That is stuff that fills us up, that is nourishing, because fun is meant to be had. We don't all of a sudden transition like at some point in our lives and are no longer allowed to have fun. There are certain people that believe that school of thought, and that's, in my opinion, a very sad and enjoyable kind of existence. So that's not something we promote here. We are all about play and having fun and living life to the fullest experiences. So how do you do it? Number one, you need to know what fills you up. How do you know what fills you up? Trial and error. Look back on your life to see the things that you used to do before, certain things externally came in to tell you what else you need to do, before you had to get a job, before you had to start thinking about, dating and romance or, partnering up or any of those things, if that's something that you've experienced. Back when it was just you and there was no external stuff and it was just life for you to experience and to enjoy and to play with. For me, when I was young, I took a lot of art type classes, whether it was dance, I took ballet, I took cheerleading class. I also took an actual art class. So I learned to utilize a lot of different mediums, acrylics and like charcoal pastels, pen and ink, excuse me. I can also think working with paper mache. So there's lots of different things that I've utilized in art class. I also really loved horseback riding. Like that was something that I did. Secretly, I wanted my parents to get me a horse. They did not get me a horse. I was not that little girl that got a pony. No. That never happened. So there's all sorts of other things. I loved being on stage. I loved performing. I got into acting and improv groups and like things that I just did purely for fun. And when we allow ourselves to get back in touch to that inner child, into that person we were before responsibility and life came into play, try bringing those things back into your world. See how much getting in touch with those activities that once brought you joy can bring you joy again. Maybe they will. Maybe you have new things, new interests that you want to experience. And for me, that might also fall under traveling. Traveling fills me up, experiencing new places. So yes, COVID is going on, but maybe, my idea of travel before COVID and during COVID is a little bit different. There's plenty of things that I can explore that are within driving distance, that are in the state that I live in. And that might be the case for you wherever you are in the world. Looking at what is available without thinking about all the things that aren't, and get excited about some of those things. Find things that you can start doing. And that's stuff that might be things that are newer to you as an adult that you found that are really enjoyable. So know what fills you up, how you can find out what fills you up. We've covered both of those things. And then just start trying things. Maybe you don't know. Maybe there's like you know what, those things, they just don't excite me anymore. Maybe there's just resistance to going back to that time. Who knows? Um, Last May, not this most recent May, but May of 2019, I did myself a little fun challenge because I wanted to experience things. I like new experiences. So every single week, because that's my birthday month, I gave myself a new experience. So one week I tried float therapy because I'd seen that so many times. I knew a couple people in other places that had tried it, and there wasn't one in Florida where I was living, but there's one right around the corner from my condo here in Boston. So I tried that. Another week I tried cryotherapy, which is like those like sub-zero temperature chambers that you get in that are supposed to be really good for muscle repair and healing. A lot of athletes use them. So I tried that. That was pretty cool. So those are just two things that I wanted to try and experience that I had never tried before. So that's step number 3. Just try things that maybe you've said, oh, that's not for me. Oh, I'm not allowed to do that. Maybe that's just even going into a new store that you've said, for whatever reason, I'm not allowed to shop in this place. This is not for me. This is for so-and-so. So give yourself the opportunity to try new experiences. Maybe it's crafting. For a while, I was really into crocheting, and that was very satisfying to me. It's a very meditative act. Sometimes I look at doing my own makeup as a very Zen activity. The point of all of this is, however you decide what to do and do it, the things that you are doing should be things that get you excited, that feel fun to you, and that make you feel satisfied for having done them, purely for doing them for yourself. There should be no other like outcome other than satisfaction and good vibes. Like that's it. It should not have any other return. And if it does have additional returns, then great. But its primary goal should be about making you feel good, making you happy, giving you some excitement and joy. That's it. And that is enough. Because when we do those things, we're lifting our mood, we're lifting our vibration, we're coming into the world filled up. Our cup is full because now we don't have to seek out from any other place someone to do X, Y, and Z to give us those things that we just gave to ourselves. So that is an incredibly empowering gift. And you can do it for free. Maybe it's taking yourself on a hike somewhere. You've been thinking about going to this place and wanting to see it, and you like taking pictures outside. Maybe that fills you up. Time in nature. There is no right or wrong thing as long as it is something that you know in your heart is going to do that for you. You don't need anybody else's permission. You don't need to be doing it with anybody. A third thing that I did, like obviously those two activities were solo type activities. A third thing I did is I went to an improv show. I wasn't going to hold off on doing it until I found somebody to go with me. I went by myself. And maybe that's scary. Maybe that's uncomfortable. But if you're doing the things that you love, don't let anything, even the remotest thing in the world, stop you. So, how to fill your cup? Know what you want. Do it. Tap into those things from childhood. Tap into things that you've maybe said, I'm not allowed to do that because X, Y, or Z. Schedule it. And do it enough that you're able to feel those like, end of the day, I can put my head down on the pillow and just feel so happy just because. Maybe that's spending time with friends. Maybe that's having a socially distanced picnic. It's about prioritizing these things for yourself. And they matter, and you matter, and your vibe matters. So get out there and fill your fucking cup. Mwah. That's my message this week. Before I go, Pop into the chat. Let me know what you decide that you're going to do. Something new, something exciting, something nourishing, whatever it is, something that you're giving yourself permission to do to fill your cup this week. I can't wait to root for you, cheer you on, hear how it goes. You deserve it. And I'm just so excited to hear what you come up with. So, mwah! See you guys soon.